So recently I was talking to a friend of mine who is the CEO of a really fast growing company. Their business is exploding in growth, and we were having a conversation about why that was the case. Now, given that 2 years ago, he had just sold his other business to a private equity company, I was really interested in what he came up with. For his list, he had 7 parts to his criteria. I actually made a whole video on that and what his criteria was. But for this video, I thought really, what would be my criteria? What are the 4 things that are needed to just absolutely crush it in business, to make a ton of money and to work smarter, not harder? So in this video, you get to get inside the mind of not just my buddy who's done tens of millions of dollars in revenue, but also me. And if you're new here, by the way, my name is Tariq Johnson. I had 9 failed businesses from the ages of 18 to 27. And since then, my last 3 businesses have all done 7 figures in sales. That all started when I bought my first franchise back in 2015. And so one of my missions is to help decrease the high failure rate of small business owners that I personally experienced and really just help business owners win. Enough about me, let's talk business. All right, so the first one is that you solve a major problem or pain point. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't succeed with a business that has products or services that are just a desire or a want, but you're gonna put yourself in the best position to succeed if you're solving a major pain. As an example, a friend of mine had a fire and water restoration business where if someone's pipes burst or if there was a leak or any of those things happen, then his business took care of it, and many times it was covered by the insurance company. Well, he went on to build that business up to $12 million a year in sales. You hear a lot of people calling some of these businesses boring businesses, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're in a business where there's a major problem or someone really needs what you have, they may spend the money even when they don't want to spend the money, right? You think about insurance companies, like who enjoys paying for insurance? Not many, but often states like car insurance, you're required to have it, or you have to pay an uninsured motorist fee. So if you're in a business that's just a want where, if a recession hits, people are going to immediately cut that expense first, well, it makes you vulnerable in your business overall. But I do think there's an in-between though on all of this. And it's one of the reasons why selling to other businesses and business owners can actually make you a lot of money, especially if what you're selling is a problem that they have to solve. It makes sense why my most successful failed business from years ago was actually a landscaping business, because people really needed their lawn mowed. And it was really inconvenient for them to do it on their own. It was a pain point. If they didn't mow it and it overgrew, well, then their yard looked like and it was probably embarrassing when all of their other neighbors had nice lawns, and then there they are with a lawn that looks like. So that's a pain point. Or they're thinking, I can either mow the lawn or go hang out with my kid, or I can go mow the lawn or play golf, or mow the lawn and go to the beach, right? It becomes a pain point where it's like,
I really don't want to do that.
And then boom, they want to solve that problem. And to that point, I had another business that was a complete want. I had started a clothing line, and it was hard. There was no strong pain point there, right? There's plenty of people offering clothes and apparel and all those different things. What was gonna make me start out? So what happened was I, was rowing against the tide from the beginning, because I was in a business where no one really needed what I had. And so my belief is this: get your first win with the business that you know you can succeed in, that you know has a strong demand and a strong pain point, and then you can go do what you think is cool or what you're passionate about. Because look, passions don't pay the bills, in my opinion. And I'm seeing, some of this stuff play out in our current business. I'm the CEO and founder of a business called Franchise Empire, where we help people find, vet, and launch franchise businesses. And although there's strong pain points around people having other failed businesses and side hustles and really want to be an entrepreneur and they're unhappy in their work or career, they don't have to buy a franchise. They can solve that problem going many different directions. Sometimes people just wind up getting a different job, or they change careers, or they start their own business, or there's all sorts of directions that they can go. Our solution is not the only way to solve that problem. So the more you can position yourself where people are going to need your solution, regardless of if they want to pay for it or not, you're really going to put yourself in the best position to succeed. So as an example, we just launched a new service for business owners, helping them get free grant money to hire and train employees. And people want it like crazy. The calendars are jam-packed with these calls. Why? Because business owners always need 2 things. Number 1, more employees. that are highly trained, and number two, money. So it becomes such a strong pain point for them where they're going, I could get a business grant to hire and train more people. Oh yeah, like I'm gonna have to do that anyways. So I might as well get involved in the service that can help me do that. So as you are either starting or buying a business, think about what's a major problem or pain point that you can solve for people. And a quick hint, it's often not the business that you want to do. So number two is being in a growing industry with a rising tide. Have you ever heard the phrase, a rising tide lifts all boats? It was coined by JFK to say that during a good economy, nearly everyone who participates in it will make out better. So think about it. In 2004, 2005, real estate boomed. Yes, it crashed a few years later, but you could have taken a blindfolded monkey, had them throw a dart at a map of homes to buy, and then they could have sold it 2 years later for a massive profit because everything was going, all real estate was appreciating in value. Same thing happened during 2020, 2022. Housing soared because of everything that was going on with COVID and just the Fed's printing money. The stock market went through the roof. So if you bought a house, the value went up, plain and simple. There didn't have to be a lot of strategy. You didn't have to be good or smart. All you had to do was be at the right place at the right time because there was a rising tide in housing and it was lifting all the boats. Do you see where I'm going with this? The same thing happened with the stock market. Every financial YouTuber thought that they were Warren Buffett, seeing their crypto and stocks take off. Now you may say, but Tariq, people lost money after that. The rising tide, it dropped back down and it can. So we'll talk about how to solve for that later on and still make out ahead in point number 4 later on in the video. But right now, as an example, we have an aging senior population. By 2030, 1 in 5 US residents will be over the age of 65, and 70% of people who are 65 or older will require long-term care. So think about the types of businesses that will rise because of this. One is obviously long-term care and senior care. Another could be like building ramps and accessibilities for homes. Many seniors may not be able to get upstairs comfortably or safely or walk up the steps anymore. And as opposed to selling their home that they've lived in for 30 years, they'd rather hire someone and pay 5 or 7 or 10 grand to help take care of them or to build a ramp or device so that they can get upstairs and move around their home. Now, I recently learned about a senior care franchise where the top franchise owner made $24 million in 1 year in sales in the senior care business. Crazy, right? By the way, to that point, we actually have a free weekly newsletter where we send you a franchise of the week and tell you how much money these franchises are making, their startup costs. We break down how the business works. You can sign up for free at franchiseempire.com/newsletter. The link is down below as well. Now, number 3 is recurring revenue. Let's imagine that you have the ability to buy an existing business, and there's actually 2 of them. They both do $1 million a year in sales. One business has 333 customers that pay $250 a month. That turns out to $83,333 a month. $1 million business, right? The other business has to find 333 new customers every month that pay them $250 one time. Which business would you buy? The recurring revenue one or start at $0 every month? No. You'd pick the one with recurring revenue. Why? Because it's predictable. It provides stability for your business. Having to start at 0 and find new customers every month is very hard and very stressful. Now, yes, with recurring income, you still have to solve for churn, right? Churn are customers who terminate your services, but I'd rather deal with that than starting from 0. Right? That's why you see companies figuring out a way to implement some sort of recurring revenue in a creative way. Even if it's not a huge amount of money, they want to have some recurring revenue. Think about like HVAC companies, right? That service your air conditioner and heater and all that stuff. These companies have these annual maintenance service contracts. They're typically only like maybe $100 or $200 a year, but if you have 1,000 people paying for it, that's 200 grand in revenue. If you have 10,000 people in a city paying for that, that's $2 million in annual recurring revenue. Then what happens is that leads into bigger and bigger jobs, because when you go and find problems after actually providing the annual maintenance service, it leads into your higher ticket products, right? You can see why that business model and that product is just genius overall. And that's why landscaping is a great business too, right? Or even daycare, because it's something that people are paying for no matter what. I mean, who likes to pay for daycare. I mean, maybe you're happy that your children are getting great care with people that, are taking care of them, but daycare is something where like parents got to work, and if they're going to work, they got to drop their kids off. And it's a monthly recurring business. So pretty genius business model overall from an entrepreneur standpoint. And look, although in my current business, we have months where we do over $100,000 a month in sales, unfortunately, we do start over from zero every month. And so, although it definitely makes business easier to have recurring income, you can still win without it. But it is stressful starting over every month at zero. Plus, the biggest benefit to having recurring revenue is that it helps you with number 4, which is your ability to sell the business. What's every entrepreneur's dream? To one day sell their business for a lot of money, right? Remember when I told you about number 1, which was that, okay, a rising tide lifts all boats, and you go,
well, at some point though, the tide comes back down.
Yes, but you can sell, right? You can hit the eject button. There are some people that at the height of the real estate market, they were like, okay, cool, I'm selling. This thing is appreciated so much. I'm gonna take my chips off the table. That's one of the cool things about a business. You can sell your business. And unfortunately, business owners every day are getting slapped in the face with the fact that their business is not worth much. Typically, businesses sell for between 2 to 4 times their annual profits or total owner benefit. What's the difference? Profit is the number that you see at the bottom of your profit and loss statement. So if you see my business did $1 million in sales after paying all my team, after paying rent, after paying utilities, paying to develop my product, whatever it is, at the end of the day, I see I made $200,000 in profit on my profit and loss statement, right? But the owner's benefit is when you go, okay, I made $200,000 on my profit and loss statement. What that doesn't factor is I have to add back all of the things that I as an owner am getting a financial benefit out of. So maybe there's $200,000 in profit, but you also pay yourself a $75,000 salary on payroll. And so that shows on your profit and loss statement higher up, and it's hidden in payroll. So now your owner's benefit is $275,000. Maybe your car payment is $1,000 a month and it rolls into your business, right? That's another $12,000. Maybe you pay your health insurance through it. And so it's adding back all of those different benefits and financial benefits you get out of the business and then figuring out what that total financial benefit is for you. And so a lot of the times businesses will be valued at their total owner benefit, not just the amount of profit that they're getting from the business. So what impacts your ability to sell your business and for how much? Well, one of the things are recurring revenue. The higher the percentage a company's total revenue is recurring, it will make the business more valuable. So an example of that is there are franchisors, the parent companies, right? So think of that as like a McDonald's. But if you're the person who comes up with the franchise idea, you have franchisees that are part of your business. A lot of these franchisors are selling for 10, 15, even 20x valuation on their profits. Why? Because not only do they have recurring revenue, but they have contractual recurring revenue, meaning a franchisee is signing a 10-year franchise agreement. So they're committing to that recurring revenue for 10 years. So the more you're in a business potentially where you have contracts and you know that, hey, this company has to be with me for, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that increases the value of the business. Another thing that increases the value of the business is how active you are in the business day to day. The less active and involved you are in running the actual daily operations of the business, the more valuable your business will be. The more you have leaders and managers in place, the higher the valuation for your businesses. My buddy, as an example, he recently sold his company for 6 times earnings. Part of that was he was not involved in the business at all. He had a general manager, he had sales managers, he had all sorts of different layers of managers, and they were running the company. He would maybe attend a monthly meeting overall, but outside of that, he didn't do much. And after having 9 failed businesses until my first business success, and that was my first franchise location doing about $470,000 in sales. My first year, we wind up doing somewhere around $60,000 in profit that first year. Nothing to cry home about, but it was the start that I needed, right? And I was like, okay, if I can make that with 1, what can I make with 2? And then so on and so forth. And now that I have my first win under my belt, what can I do now? And so I realized that sometimes the best way to succeed is to just copy what someone else is doing. You just model it, right? That could literally just seeing someone else operating a business in a certain way. You see a landscaping company and the way that they operate their business, and you go, you know what? I think I could take what they're doing and I can do it better. I think I can execute on it better. Or it could just be franchising. You get someone's playbook, access to their vendors, their pricing, their processes, their marketing, their templates. And so in this video, I break down 7 businesses that make a load of money. They're all franchises, by the way, but I share how much money they make, the startup cost, and the names of the businesses. Since you watched all of this video, I think you'll really like that one. Remember to subscribe before you go. Peace.